But now we are shifting gears into the next discussion. Thank you very much for keeping it KBC. It's just in time for the very last discussion of the day. But now, something to think about. How many commissions do you know of that exist in the country? And can you feel their work? Do you know their purpose? Do you know their mandate? Are these commissions really helping the common mwananchi? Remember, we are talking about different commissions working independently. You know, every commission has its own purpose, and we shall find out this morning, are they constituted within the Kenyan Constitution? As we talk about this, we will be putting into focus the constitutional commissions and independent offices, that is the CCs and IOs. That is going to be our area of focus. They are having an event. We will telling you much about that event right here. But this morning, to help us shed light on this and much more, I'm joined by Dr. Joyce Mwikali Mutinda. She is the chair of the National Gender and Equality Commission. Karibu sana.
Asante Ram.
Thank you very much for making time to join me this morning. Now, if you would like to be part of this discussion, remember you can give us your take, send us your questions, give us your opinions and your comments. Our social media handles are on. The hashtag on Twitter is Good Morning Kenya. Tag me at Ram Maguko, my colleagues handle at Jane Wambui, and that Dorina Range. Our official station handle is at KBC Television. Remember, we are also online on Twitter. The SMS line is up and running. The SMS line is 20154. Start with the word channel 1. Tell us your name and where you're watching us from. Well, so far so good. We have an institution that is mandated to protect the sovereignty of the people and ensure the observance by all state organs of democratic value and principles and promote constitutionalism. And that's where I would like to start it from. This is what forms the constitutional commissions and independent offices, where your commission is a part of. But now we have constitutionalism and constitutionality. Do you think that as a country we have constitutionalism in the nation?
Thank you very much, Ram. I think we have constitutionalism, and that is why you have the constitutional commissions formed under the Kenya Constitution 2010.
Yes.
And from then on, these commissions have been ensuring that every person in the country and the people, even the visitors who come, have to adhere to our constitution. We make sure that there is compliance. At times when there is no compliance, that is where you find the constitutional commissions getting to offices that are not supposed to be the offices that we take our Kenyans to, and that is going to the judiciary and taking them to court, so that we can ensure that every Kenyan gets their right in terms of constitutionalism.
But now, as we look at every Kenyan getting their right, the question still begs in, do people really understand the purposes of, you know, these commissions that exists within the country? Do you think that Kenyans are aware about, you know, the independent roles that these commissions have? Are you really being felt by the common mwananchi?
Thank you, Ram, for that question. In fact, this is a question I have come across very many times. First, I want to say who these constitutional commissions are.
Yes.
We have, to be precise, 14 constitutional commissions.
14 of them.
Out of the 14, 3 of them deal with Chapter 4 of the Constitution, that is the Bill of Rights. And why I'm singling out the 3 is because in the Constitution, in Chapter 15, you find that there is a commission that has been established, the Kenya National Human Rights and Equality Commission. And when you go to Article 59, Sub-Article 4 and 5, you find that that commission is split into 3. And the 3 are the National Gender and Equality Commission that I chair. Then the other one is the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights that is chaired by Kagwiria. And then we have CAJ, Commission on Administrative Justice, commonly called the Ombudsman. Now, those are the 3 that come in Article 59. Now, that makes the Constitution of Kenya to have constituted only 14. Now, are they being felt? Yes.
Yes.
They are being felt.
You believe so?
I believe they are being felt. I want to give an example of the National Gender and Equality Commission. Are we being felt? Yes. The whole debate of 2/3, we are now in the Supreme Court, and you know we are being felt. The whole trivial some people call this trivial issue of a member of parliament going to parliament with a baby.
The baby.
And then she's told that this baby is a stranger. And we jumped into that. What was the whole point about this? It was that we need to adhere to the rule of law.
Because
And I'm talking of specifically the Health Act 2017. When you look at Section 71, it says we need to have lactating rooms in all our institutions in this country. Did the parliament have that? The answer is no. That is why this child could not be breastfed.
But we saw a video of a room somewhere in parliament.
Yes, I'm coming to that. When did that room come into being? The night after we struck.
The night after?
Yes. And is it in parliament? No, it's in a building that is adjacent to parliament. It is at Continental Building. So I'm just trying to tell you, we are being felt not only at the highest level of legislation, but also in judiciary. The commission that I had did an audit of the judiciary, and we are able to say how many judges we have that are male and how many judges we have that are female, and whether there is adherence to inclusion, to principles of inclusion and gender parity.
You've mentioned quite a lot there, Dr. Joyce, and I'm looking at constitutionalism that is being felt now by the common Mwananchi, because yes, our legislators have the know-how on the constitution. They know what article talks about what, and they know.
Yes.
But do the common Mwananchi understand the same things that the legislators understand? Because when you look at a baby being brought into the National Assembly, it brings in a lot of debate. I remember, the majority leader, Honorable Aiden Duale, spoke really passionately that it was not, going hand in hand with the standing orders of the National Assembly.
Yes.
Do you believe that the common Mwananchi understands the same?
Why we went in is to let the common Mwananchi know that there is what we call a creche. And the people who passed the law that we should have a creche in every organization, not only in government, are the legislators. So now the common Mwananchi got to know that whoever is telling us to adhere to this, whoever is passing the laws, is not following the laws. So somebody somewhere who is independent, and that was the National Gender and Equality Commission, came in to tell all and sundry that you need to adhere to the rule of law. Everybody has their right, including that child. She has a right to that creche, which did not exist. Now it does exist, thanks to that intervention. But I want to just go to other commissions so that it doesn't look like it's the National Gender and Equality Commission alone. Now, when it comes, for example, to CRA, Commission on Revenue Allocation, people will tell you from all corners, whatever we witnessed in Parliament lately to do with the allocation, that tug of war was because there was CRA. And it had gone round the country, checking where poverty is and saying, this is the way we should divide this. Now, let me go to the controller of budget. The controller of budget gives you an update of how your budget has been utilized. Isn't that very commendable for this country? That is an independent office.
Do you believe that these commissions are really doing their job as expected?
I believe that these commissions are really trying under very difficult circumstances. Why do I say difficult circumstances? They require funding, and it is in the Constitution. And when you look at the funding that they receive, I dare say it is so little, such that the commissions, so that I think we witnessed SRC, the other commission, their budget being slashed just because they said what you are doing is not right. House allowances are not for state officers as a separate entity.
I'm looking at how the Salaries and Remuneration Commission did their work, and there was a lot of bashing, especially from the legislators, that the Salaries and Remuneration Commission is not actually doing what they're supposed to do. They're not providing what they were expecting. Do you believe the same?
I believe SRC is doing a very good job, commendable job. Let us give them space and give them funding so that they can do that which they have to do. They are giving direction in terms of remuneration to this country so that we have at least everybody knows they are getting a rightful share of their salaries. And also, there are those things that we have put on ourselves, and particularly when it comes to allowances. Some of these allowances, I dare say, I just feel they are not rightly there. And when SRC touches on them, then we all jump up in arms and we want to eat the chair. Megij, I don't know why we try to do that. But I was saying why these commissions are not being felt. I'm not saying they are not being felt as they should be felt, is because of that idea of funding. Because you touch a button, the legislators sit there, and they cut your budget. And when they cut your budget, you are not able to do the work you were supposed to do. Therefore, you turn to other modes of mobilization of resources, like development partners, sometimes NGOs, so that you can deliver on your mandate. For example, when it comes to ensuring that this country reports on matters children, NGEC is supposed to be there to make sure that they have reported. And this reporting is done in New York, the UN reporting. Now, when the money for traveling, international travel, is cut, what does that mean? That you cannot be there to be sure of what is being presented. You are not doing your oversight work. But I'm saying we are getting other ways of mobilizing resources so that we can be felt. Now, the other one that we have resorted to is going to the counties, taking our services to wananchi. And this is why we are having the Congress. We have annual Congress. Since 2012, the chairs of these constitutional commissions and independent officers came together, and they made a forum for the chairs to come together and see what they can do. Now, when they come together, they put their resources together, and they go to a given county every year. For example, in 2012, this Congress was held in Kwale. In 2013, we went to Mombasa. From Mombasa, 2014, we went to Kisumu. And then in 2015, we went to Uasin Gishu. In 2016, we came to Nairobi. 2017, we went to Nyeri, Central Province. 2018, we went to Meru. And now, we are on our way tomorrow to Kericho.
And,
why
and,
do
and,
we...
And still on the same breath,
Yes.
And as you're explaining more about the event,
Yes.
because here we are, it's now the 8th Congress
It is
that
the
will
8th
be
Congress.
taking place. And this time is under the theme promoting accountability and citizen access to quality public service. And that is the theme for this year.
Yes.
It will be held from the 16th to 18th of October.
Yes.
This week.
Yeah.
And so, still on the same breath, under that theme, promoting accountability and citizen access to quality public service, do the Kenyan citizen, the common manager, have access to quality public services?
Yes. I want to say
yes,
the idea of devolution is the best thing that ever happened to this country. And the idea of this forum coming together, all the 14 constitutional commissions, and the 2 independent officers, and even the complementary ones, because sometimes there are some statutory commissions that we think are constitutional. For example, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, that is a statutory commission, not a constitutional commission. Also, we have the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC.
So we
commonly called
we normally confuse them.
Yes, but these commissions, even the complementary ones, come together and then go to an area. What happens, like is going to happen in Kericho, we are going to have exhibitions. In those stands, any mwananchi who walks in to see what a specific commission does is supposed to get services there on the spot. Remember, it's one compound. You can move from one commission to the other, and even if there is referral, mwananchi can move from one to the other. For example, if somebody has been sacked unfairly, for example, now that mwananchi may walk and go to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. Now, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights will not take up this matter, but will refer that matter to a ombudsman. And because there is a stand for ombudsman, mwananchi can walk there and be served. So we are saying we are taking the services to wananchi. That is one. Now, are they quality service? Yes, because the secretariat that operate from Nairobi will have moved to Kericho.
So here
And they usually move to that county where the venue of the meeting.
So we are talking about now services being provided. Now it has been brought to the Mwananchi.
To the Mwananchi.
And it is now being, having accessible.
Yes.
So any person can be able to attend the event.
It is
free. Is there any form of registration? Is there any payment that someone has to undergo to access the venue?
The best news is that we don't charge. Entry is free. And even going to the exhibitions, entry is free. But the services also are free. So if somebody has any complaint, they will bring their complaint. Some of them are dealt with on the spot. Others that require further referrals are referred on the spot. Others that require more time because of investigation. Remember, most of these commissions have the power to investigate. That which requires investigation may take a little longer. But then the contacts, Mwananchi on the ground, will have received the contacts for all these constitutional commissions and IOs. And some of them, at times, when we have gone to these congresses, they bring their very personalized problems, and the problems are dealt with. If they want it confidentially dealt with, we will provide that kind of service.
So technically, whatever someone can be able to normally access when they only come to Nairobi, now they can be able to access them in Kericho.
Yes.
And that's quite something, Dr. Joyce. Let's talk about the kind of services that the common man gets. Normally there is a struggle. We have long queues. We have long waiting lines. For you to even get access to some of these services, you have to wake up so early in the morning, here in Nairobi, to get to where you want and get what you wanted in terms of the services. How are you going to help when you are on the ground in Kericho during the Congress to be able to cater for everyone's needs at the same time so that someone can feel satisfied?
Now, there are those people who will walk. They will literally walk. Others will use matatus. I don't expect anybody to be flying to Kericho because they could come to the Nairobi office. But what you should notice, we are in digital age. And all these commissions have websites, and the websites are interactive. So there is where somebody can give their own views and their own complaints and their own grievances. And that is why you find most of these commissions are on Twitter. They are on Facebook. They are on their websites where you can deal with the matters. We even have toll-free numbers where somebody can call. Because
so by long lines and long queues and
we do not really realize those long queues and lines. Even if it is to ombudsman, you can walk in, walk out. There are officers ready to serve all the Kenyans. Because what Kenyans should know is these independent commissions and independent officers, they do not answer to anyone but the Mwananchi, the law and the constitution. And therefore, I do not have to say, I have to consult so and so. No, I have to serve that Mwananchi. That is my employer. And that is the beauty of going to the village. It is not that we are going to be in Kericho throughout. For example, we shall go to Kipkelion, the coffee women. We want to go and see these coffee women. The men in Kipkelion are so good.
You will be down to the ground there.
Yes, they have given some bushes to the women, the coffee bushes, and I want to thank them. That is very good. I think other parts of the country should emulate that. Now, these bushes, the women get their coffee, and thanks to Governor Professor Chepkoni, His Excellency just took that, packaged, so that it is sold as from women. And the men's coffee is sold as men's coffee. So what is happening? It gets to abroad, and everybody wants to buy for these women. And it's pricely. I mean, it's not as cheap when it gets out there.
Now, what if someone wants to get access to information about a specific commission and, that commission is there? How can you be able to provide information to the citizen when it comes to details required from the commission?
Now, thank you very much. We have flyers, and at least, if not anything else, we have banners saying this is how you can get to each of these commissions. You have the website displayed. You have the numbers, and we even don't hide our numbers. We give our cards to the common mwananchi because that is our employer. As I said, and I want to repeat, we only make a report to Parliament, both Senate and the National Assembly, copy the same to His Excellency the President. So the idea of independence helps us correct the government, if so to speak, and correct the private sector when they are not observing the principles of democracy and constitutionalism.
And complaints?
Any complaints, we deal with them. I'm not saying people don't complain, they complain. But we have a whole procedure for dealing with that.
When it comes to the same, you talk about procedure.
Yeah.
Mostly, you'll realize that there's a lot of bureaucracy when it comes to government entities. Bureaucracy, you have to follow this, follow that, follow that. How are you going to help someone who has now come to Kericho and needs some specific services in order for them not to feel frustrated? You know, will we still experience the same kind of thing in terms of the processes and the procedures? How are you going to make it streamlined for the common mwananchi?
When you talk of bureaucracy, the constitutional commissions, there is no bureaucracy.
Yes.
Because we call it as is. You know, the people in there, the commissioners, are ready to serve mwananchi. And what happens is, if this complaint, for example, if this complaint has been given to IPOA, it is for police officer X, then you expect the chairperson, Anne Makori, to deal with it at the secretariat level with our secretariat or with our commissioners. And if it requires further action, the other people within the commissions are able to help. Because she may find it's a question of human rights, and she will throw it to where it belongs. Because we are able to consult with one another very easily. We don't have to go through bureaucracies.
So here we are talking about every commission working independently yet united.
We are united. That is why we have a forum of chairs. We meet every month to deliberate on our challenges. Not that we are checking on each other, but to deliberate on our challenges and how we can overcome them, like the challenge of feasibility, where we came up and said, then we need annual congresses. We need to take the whole thing to the people, and that is why we go to the various counties. And where we have been, I have realized most of what we do makes the people there more enlightened about each and every commission, and they are able to bring on board their grievances, which we deal with. There are some grievances that require instant action. Let me say, for example, a case of defilement is reported to me. Now, that in itself, one, is a child whose right is being taken away. But at the same time, this is a criminal case. And therefore, I should be able to link up very quickly with the IG and the DCI, for that matter, working under the IG, so that they can deal with the perpetrators. Now, I should link up with you, Ram, and others to ensure that this child is not photographed. We don't like seeing the face of that child because we are destroying their future.
On the media.
On the media. You can take the photos of the legs and whatever, but not the face, because this is somebody who is growing. We have to protect their rights. So we will work with this child, ensure counseling and so forth and so on, but we call upon other arms of government almost instantly at the spur of the moment, so that that is dealt with.
So at the end of the day, we're talking about, we have so many commissions, but the mwananchi gets services from all of these commissions.
Yes.
At the same time.
Yes.
I'm happy that you mentioned that there are the commissions there, they tackle Chapter 4 of the Constitution, and being streamlined with constitutionalism, we are doing a good job. But now I'm looking at it in terms of now putting in check the works of legislators. Still, there is a time I remember that your commissioner, that is Priscilla Nyokabi, had talked about renaming counties. So looking at that, do you think that at some point there is a way that each commission is trying to make sure that in as much as, yes, you have your independent roles, but at the same time, you also have to make sure that the country is moving towards the right direction. How are you putting yourself in line with that?
Thank you very much, Ram, for that. Let me first of all start with the fact that my commission, and I'm the spokesperson, did not take that position of renaming counties. That is a personal position taken by one of my commissioners. I want to put that record straight.
Yes.
Now, do we police the other people? Yes.
Yes,
One of the areas that we deal with is advisory. We advise, whether it is the legislators, whether it is private sector, whether it is arms of government, we advise. Now, for example, where do we come in to advise? Recently, there has been hue and cry on Inua Jamii.
Yeah.
Inua Jamii is a very good program, helping the elderly get some money to live on, those who are not pensioners. But we realized after some reporting in April this year in New York, we realized that Kenya had not signed or even ratified the Africa Protocol. So when we got back to the country, the first advisory was to our own cabinet secretary, Ukuru Yatan, to tell him that there is need to have this protocol signed by the country so that it protects the rights of the elderly.
That's why these commissions are important.
Yes. Now, when we pointed that out, I dare say it has worked miracles. Now we are talking of almost final staging in signing of that protocol. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about, that advisory. When you look at CRA, they will advise, this is the way you can divide the money. Stop looking at the entire county, but look at pockets of poverty. And they go out and bring you the areas, so that we don't talk of Baringo, but we need to talk of that Baringo which is rich and the Baringo that is poor, so that we don't leave out any Kenyans.
Right,
Remember,
perfect.
we are still part of Africa, where we are saying Vision 2063, leave no one behind.
No.
So we want everybody included in our national development.
We leave no one behind.
Yes, we leave no one
you know,
behind.
so if you've never felt the purpose of these commissions, remember their work, they give their, advisory remarks.
Yes.
To government entities. But now, Dr. Mwikali, as we bring this discussion to a close here, we have the 8th annual Congress that is taking place. What should Kenyans be looking out for, especially in this event?
In this event, I would want to call upon the residents of Kericho and even the passerbys, those who will be passing through Kericho, 16th to 18th, to link up with us, particularly in the exhibitions, because whatever challenges they have will be dealt with there or will be referred accordingly. That is one. Two, we shall be having panels. And in the panel discussions that will be held on the 17th, there is going to be very healthy discussion on what each of these commissions does. After that, we shall have some field visits. I already alluded to Kipkelion. We shall also visit Ketepa and see what happens, because there has been quite a number of things happening in the tea plantations. Then we shall also go to the prison. We tend to forget the prisoners are part and parcel of Kenyans. We shall be going there. And for this one, we want to congratulate His Excellency the Governor, because he has put up a facility for women and children, those children who are in prison, so that they are not in the same facility as their mothers, because they are not prisoners. And I wish this can be replicated all over. We shall also be having public lectures at Kabianga University, which is part of Kericho, and the Kenya Highlands University. And we shall also have guest speakers. One interesting fact is, what can the media do to increase the visibility of these commissions and to enlighten wananchi on what each commission does? That will be one of the areas. In fact, we will be having a guest speaker dealing with that. So in essence, what we shall be doing in Kericho is something that is bringing all these services of the 14 commissions and independent offices to mwananchi. And it's not only Kericho. Next year, I can bet we will not be in Kericho. We will be in another county
another
because
county.
we are going around the counties.
And I wish you the best, Dr. Mwikali, even as we talk about the 8th annual congress that is going to take place in Kericho as from the 16th to the 18th of October. If at all you will be around Kericho, make sure that you head over there. And if at all you will like to travel, that's a very good place to travel and spend your time. What's the specific location in Kericho County?
There is Kericho Teachers Training College.
All right.
Yes, where you can access our booth.
I'll put there.
Yeah.
That is Dr.
But they also need to log on our website so that whatever issues they want to bring up, they bring up early, they can be addressed during the Congress.
That is Dr. Joyce Mwikali Mutinda, ladies and gentlemen, the chair of the National Gender and Equality Commission. That is a wrap. Make sure that you get over to their website, check it out. Make sure that you also keep in touch right here on KBC. We shall be keeping you up to date with what's happening within Nairobi and across the country. So far, that is what brings us to the end of Good Morning Kenya. It's always a pleasure having you every morning from 6 to 10 a.m. On behalf of everyone that made this show as fantastic as it was, may God bless you and may God bless the work of your hands. See you again tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. My name is Ram Agugo. Keep it KBC for more of our programming.